The month of March has already been a pretty wild ride for mobile gaming. The year hasn't exactly been easy, but one thing that never really slowed down is the mobile gaming space. Hello friends, this is Mobile, and if you're looking for a quality game, here's our roundup of the 15 best mobile games you must try.
Where were you? You were supposed to protect us, damn it!
First things first, just in, Division Resurgence finally hit the Google Play and the Apple Store today, and it's delivering a full-on console-tier, legitimate tactical looter shooter. I'm talking classic cover-based combat, the character specializations, the gear looting, player versus environmental missions, PvP modes, and of course co-op gameplay through a rich new open-world setting. For those of you who missed it, Resurgence actually set in a post-crisis New York with a brand new standalone campaign where players join the strategic Homeland Division and fight other factions while restoring order to the city. The game's been largely positive so far, with critics giving credits to the gameplay, graphics, and some real smooth control for mobile devices. It is actually right now one of the most ambitious mobile adaptations on the market. Up next with a offline gem, a pretty decent classic inspired by the old Doom games, something called Mega Pain. Maybe even a little bit inspired by the Painkiller games. And it's straight up throwback to those wild 90s arena shooters where everything's just loud and chaotic. You're just punching tickets on mutants, demons, and a good amount of bosses by using a chunky arsenal of weapons. I don't know, pistols, rocket launchers, plasma guns, the whole deal. The vibe is all pure retro with 3D visuals and a heavy rock soundtrack pushing the action. There's a full offline campaign if you want to go solo. But you can also jump into co-op or go PvP with other players for that classic arena shooting.
What the heck is that?
Coming in strong at number 3. It is the horror game Misguided, the Remastered. Probably not your typical mobile horror usual game. It's a survival horror, it's a third-person view classic. To my memory, one of the bravest attempts to bring a decent PC port to mobile, and one that actually delivered hard. You play as a high school girl that's trapped in a nightmare, who's searching for a missing best friend here. It's got that sick, dark Indonesian horror folklore to the max. The monsters, the atmosphere, just the whole vibe feels different. And this remastered version actually has a better lighting, smoother gameplay, cutscenes, a better AI, reworked locations. It feels pretty polished, and if you like a horror slow and a little psychologically insane, this is a pretty serious recommendation. We've got Tomb Raiders 1 through 3 remastered on Android and iOS right now. Offline, controller support friendly, just packed to the brim with content and nostalgia. You see the original 3 Tomb Raider adventure games for the first time ever, with all the expansions and the secret levels on a phone in definitive edition. Although this actually takes you a whopping $10, but it comes in with more bonus content than you can imagine, you know, a new challenge mode, photo mode, mobile controls, a decent optimization. The touch control is pretty fine, but we highly recommend the controller like the old times. Runs pretty smooth, you can always switch between HD and the classic. Highly recommend it, even if you actually haven't played the original game back on PlayStation 1 or your PC. Now guys, Final Fantasy Dissidia Duellum came our way this morning, and together it actually turned out to come out as one of the most iconic games in the franchise. Given the old Cloud, Sephiroth, and other characters a brand new mobile crossover where instead of the classic one-on-one arena fights the series is known for, it is now delivering a 3v3 team battle systems where squads race to defeat bosses while fighting the enemy teams as well. It's got a pretty unique mix of team strategy and arena combat. There's some fans, of course, remain curious about how the mobile-focused design will evolve in long term, which is of course expected. Still, for Final Fantasy fans, it really is right now one of the more interesting mobile spin-offs in the series. I believe previously I only mentioned this game, but in case you missed it, Ponkorado, which I believe is how it's announced, is just one of those, is it real? type of moments. Why, you might ask? The main reason is instead of doing the usual Vampire Survivors reskin with this thing, it actually has a concept worth laughing at. You play as a stuntman so ignored by Hollywood that he literally has to fight his way through every Western cliche just to get noticed. Bandits, tumbleweeds, everything you've ever seen in a spaghetti western movie. It's also got that rubber hose old cartoon style that instantly makes it stand out, and the gameplay itself just hits the survivor's sweet spot. Poncorado, in fact, might be the first survival-like game that actually feels like it has a soul. Sitting on the Player Store as the third most grossing game of 2026 right now. We've been meaning to talk about this one for a week. We're happy to report now it's got potential. Yeah, Star Savior is definitely inspired by the same old turn-based anime RPG formula, but it's got some uniqueness to it. The game mechanics, the characters, especially the story, pretty generous with its rewards actually. It definitely needs to be optimized better, gets heavy and hot pretty fast after like 10 minutes of gaming, maybe a better graphical and render option, but overall, we highly recommend it if you're like in need of a pretty decent turn-based RPG on the go. It's a big game, takes you almost 12 gigabytes. Coming in at number 8, we have Avenue Store or App Store Supermarket. One of the real underrated games of the month, even on a bad day. Game's a business sim where you build and manage your own supermarket in the chillest possible manner known to humankind. You start with just a small little store, expand it into a shopping center, organizing shelves yourself, and just keeping customers happy. However, the big twist is that it's a pet-friendly store. I think we said it before, but what it means is that shoppers can bring their dogs and cats along in the shop, which is, why not? Anyway, you're going to be hiring staff, manage, design the layout to maximize your profit, and I don't know, if you manage everything well, your little shop can grow into one of the best in the town and you can make more. On another hand, we have the game Ball X Pits, finally in Android and iOS, and it's honestly a absolute thrill ride, this game. It's Rogue meets Brick Breaker and Bullet Hell, all layered with base building and loot hunting. Pretty intense, smart, fast-paced, every run feels different, with new treasures, characters, and of course balls to unlock, keeping you constantly engaged. The controls are tight, action never slows, the game sort of nails that just one more run feeling to it, and offline mode means you can dive in anywhere without any compromise. Check it out if you want a game that's strategic and chaotic. Well, Ball Pits is almost a no-brainer. Dark Lord at number 10 might be one of the finest little pieces of gems we've had hands on this whole year. Not only is it a free-to-play game, console quality, but it's a quite generous game as well. It's an asymmetric survival crafting game, putting you in the role of a rising vampire lord trying to rebuild their fallen domain. And it actually takes clear inspiration from games such as V-Rising, the PC game, where you just start out weak, hiding from sunlight, scavenging for materials just to survive, and over time, the goal is to gather resources, craft better gear, and slowly build up your own vampire castle and expand your power. This one's actually got a pretty good loop. If you enjoy archetype class arcade bullet hell games, I gotta say man, Nova Drift is a wild one. It's a space roguelike where your ship basically grows as you fight. You grab upgrades, swap modules, figure out whether you wanna snipe, smash enemies, or just spam drones everywhere. Everyone feels a little different. Maps, enemies, it's all about randoming, so you're like never gonna do the same thing twice, almost. You're gonna be dying a lot, but every time you come back, your ship's a little crazier, a little stronger. The game is basically all about experimenting with builds and seeing how far you can push. It's not free, but plays offline on both the Google and the Apple Store. Swap Heroes is a pretty solid time if you're into real-time action RPGs. It's definitely one for the replay value and long-time commitments, although it's in short matches. The visuals are pretty nice, pretty minimal looking and smooth and paced. You're building squads, swapping on the fly and smashing with different abilities. It actually makes you think about who's out front. The boss fights are pretty tough, to keep it interesting but not frustrating, and leveling up heroes feels really satisfying. Lots of quests, all straightforward but still give you a reason to explore, and popping into guild events is fun with other players as well. It's online, of course, about 1 GB in total. A tricky one, maybe it's working for you, maybe not. Clay Jam is now finally on Android and iOS. It's classic good old Neverhood charm. Every single thing on screen you see is just handcrafted clay. Your real clay models brought to life. You're basically there to roll a ball, dig holes, and watch physics unfold while squashing bugs and growing bigger with every different squish. It's a pretty simple game, addictive, somehow hypnotic, like just a perfect mix of arcade and artsy vibes. Casual, fun, perfect to pick up for a few minutes or, get lost in for an hour. Trust me, this one's almost a masterpiece. You didn't even know you need it. On another hand, Order of Kings has been in the making for quite a while, especially the global version, and it's about to land without limitations in just 2 days. Well, it's a real-time strategy based on the Three Kingdoms era, in case you missed it. I'm gonna shake up the usual real-time strategy formula. And with like many strategy games, you're gonna be building cities, gather resources, expand your territory while competing with other players across the map. However, where the game really tries to stand out is the real time, where instead of just simply relying on bigger numbers and stuff, fights take place in big battlefields with physics and terrain that actually play a role, giving a combat a lot of Total War style freedom. It's online and about 3 GB in total.
Where are you? I'm looking for you.
Go Ape Ship. This one's pure co-op. It's a demo, by the way, and it's from an indie team that recently brought another great game called Spelled. Go Ape Ship's a action-adventure where you and 1 to 8 other chips are running a spaceship, juggling many games and trying not to blow it up. Literally. A bunch of tasks sit in 8 different rooms and a lot of mayhem to manage. You can upgrade your ship, survive waves, hopefully reach the stars, endless mode and 6 different difficulty settings, offline friendly. It is quite frantic, definitely fun, hilarious with friends. If spaceship and ape antics sound your vibe, this one's almost a no-brainer. And last but not least, we have the game Aquamarine, the Explorers Edition, which I'm gonna say is a pretty unique take on the old underwater survival, where instead of just real-time action and struggle like the game Subnautica, this one goes for a rather slower turn-based approach where every move actually matters. You play as a stranded middleman known as the Seeker, searching on an alien ocean, using a pretty small submarine pod while gathering food, materials, and upgrades just to stay alive. The game's art is just pure classic 70s and 80s sci-fi comics with a synthy soundtrack to match the vibe, and it's already available on iOS, coming to Android sometime later. There is also a free trial before purchase as well. Thanks for watching.